We live in a culture that glorifies the hustle. We are told that if we just work harder, achieve more, and win bigger, we will finally find peace. But ancient history tells a completely different story. It warns us about a psychological phenomenon often called the arrival fallacy, the crash that can happen after you achieve your greatest victory. And there is no clearer example of this than the prophet Elijah.
O Lord,
Elijah had
answer
just
me.
experienced
Let it
the
be
absolute
known this
pinnacle of
day
his
that
calling.
you are God
On
in
Mount
Israel.
Carmel, he stood alone against 450 prophets of Baal.
Send fire
He challenged them to a supernatural
Answer us, we
contest,
beg you.
called down fire from heaven to consume his sacrifice, and witnessed the end of a devastating 3-year drought. By every outward measure, he was at the height of his purpose and power. But great victories often come with hidden costs. Only hours later, Queen Jezebel sent a messenger with a chilling threat. "May the gods deal with me, be it ever so severely, if by this time tomorrow I do not make your life like that of one of them." In an instant, the man who had just stood fearless before an entire nation ran for his life. He didn't fight. He didn't call down fire again. He simply fled. The account in 1 Kings 19 says Elijah was afraid and ran into the wilderness. There, sitting beneath a solitary broom tree, he prayed,
I have had enough, Lord. Take my life.
This is one of the most honest moments in Scripture. Elijah wasn't simply afraid, he was completely drained. Years of pressure, conflict, responsibility, and constant survival had finally caught up with him. Notice what happened to his thinking. Despite one of the greatest victories in biblical history, he saw himself as a failure. Exhaustion has a way of attacking our identity. It convinces us that our accomplishments mean nothing and that we are somehow falling short. He also isolated himself. Before entering the wilderness, Elijah left his servant behind. When people become emotionally exhausted, they often withdraw from the very relationships that could help carry them through the darkness. Then something remarkable happened. God did not respond with a lecture. He did not rebuke Elijah for lacking faith. Instead, he sent an angel. The angel brought freshly baked bread and water. He gently touched Elijah and simply said, "Get up and eat." Elijah ate, drank, and went back to sleep. Then the angel returned a second time with the same instruction. "Get up and eat, because the journey is too much for you." Before addressing Elijah's emotions, before correcting his thinking, before giving him a new assignment, God cared for his physical needs. The message is profound. Sometimes what feels like a spiritual crisis is, at least in part, the result of deep physical exhaustion. Rest is not weakness. Nourishment is not laziness. Our bodies were created with limits, and God understands those limits better than anyone. Strengthened by that food, Elijah traveled 40 days to Mount Horeb, where he sheltered inside a cave. God invited him to stand on the mountain because his presence was about to pass by. A violent wind tore through the mountains and shattered rocks, but the Lord was not in the wind. Then came an earthquake, but the Lord was not in the earthquake. After the earthquake came fire, but the Lord was not in the fire. And after the fire came a gentle whisper. When Elijah heard that quiet voice, he covered his face and stepped to the entrance of the cave. God did not meet Elijah in the noise, the chaos, or the spectacular displays of power. He met him in the stillness. Maybe that's the reminder we need today. Your worth is not measured by how much you produce. Your value is not determined by your latest achievement. Even after your greatest victories, you are still human. You still need rest. You still need quiet. You still need grace. If you feel overwhelmed, exhausted, or ready to give up, remember Elijah. Before trying to solve every problem today, eat something nourishing, drink some water, Step away from the noise. Give yourself permission to rest. Sometimes the most spiritual thing you can do is simply recover. And perhaps in the stillness, you'll hear the gentle voice that has been there all along.